Your phone buzzes at 11:47 p.m. A red bubble blinks on the corner of an app you didn't even open, 20% off, 6 hours left. Your thumb is already moving toward the screen before your brain finishes reading the words. For most of your life, an app like this felt harmless. Just colors and buttons and a checkout page. A digital storefront, nothing more. But that countdown timer wasn't placed there by accident. Neither was the color red. Neither was the buzz that pulled your eyes away from whatever you were doing 1 second ago. What if the app wasn't really built to sell you sneakers? What if it was built to sell you urgency? Here's the part nobody puts in the App Store description. Every screen you scroll through has been tested, tweaked, and tested again on millions of people just like you. Until someone found the exact sequence of colors, sounds, and timers that makes your finger move faster than your judgment does. This isn't an accident. It's a discipline. It even has a name. Researchers at Stanford built an entire field around it called persuasive technology, led by a psychologist named B.J. Fogg. His core idea is simple. Behavior happens when three things line up at the same moment: motivation, ability, and a trigger. You already wanted the sneakers, that's motivation. The app made buying them one tap away, that's ability. And the buzzing notification at 11:47 p.m., that's the trigger. Line all three up and you don't really decide to buy something, your thumb decides for you, feel familiar. Now stack another layer on top of that. A psychologist named Robert Cialdini spent decades studying what makes people say yes. And he found a handful of triggers that work on almost everyone, no matter how smart they are. Scarcity is one of them. When something feels limited, your brain assumes it must be valuable, even if it isn't. Social proof is another. If 300 other people already bought it, some part of your brain quietly decides it must be safe, or smart, or cool to buy it too. That countdown clock, scarcity. That little line under the product that says 47 people are viewing this right now, social proof. Neither number is really about the product, both numbers are about you. So let's reconstruct a normal week with this in mind. Monday, a brand you follow posts a drop. Limited sizes, link in bio. You don't buy yet, but you tap through just to look. Tuesday. An ad for the exact same shoes finds you on a completely different app. Because your data already told every platform what you almost bought yesterday, that's not a coincidence. That's called retargeting, and it exists for one reason: to put the same trigger in front of you again before the urge fades. Wednesday, a friend posts a story wearing the same pair. That's social proof showing up in your feed at the exact moment your interest is highest, even though your friend has no idea they are part of the pitch. By Thursday, the price has a strike-through through it. $45 off, today only. Your allowance isn't due until Friday, so what do? Maybe you wait, maybe you don't. Say you wait, and by Friday night, the deal has technically expired. Open the app again on Saturday morning, and somehow there's a brand new deal waiting, almost identical to the one that just disappeared. That's not luck. The platform watched you hesitate, watched you not convert, and served you a fresh trigger before the urge had time to cool off completely. The deadline was never really a deadline. It was a tool, and the tool worked exactly as designed whether you bought on Thursday or Saturday. Either way, here's the part that should bother you a little. The shoes were never really the goal, your attention was the goal. Every app on your phone is competing for the same 8 or 9 hours of your day that every other app is competing for. And the way it wins isn't by making better shoes. It's by getting better at psychology. There's a name for some of the sneakier tricks built into these designs. Confirm shaming is one, where the button to say no is worded to make you feel bad, like no thanks, I don't want to save money. A fake countdown that resets the moment you refresh the page is another. Researchers and regulators now call this whole category dark patterns. Design choices built specifically to push you toward a purchase you might not have chosen on your own. There's another trick hiding in plain sight on that same product page, and it's so simple you've probably never questioned it. The original price, sitting there crossed out in gray, right above the new discounted price in bold red. That crossed out number isn't really there to inform you, it's there to anchor you. Daniel Kahneman, along with his research partner, Amos Tversky, showed that the very first number you see shapes every judgment that follows it, even when that first number is arbitrary or inflated. See a sweatshirt listed at $90, slashed down to $45, and $45 suddenly feels like a steal. See that same sweatshirt listed at $45 with no crossed-out price at all, and $45 just feels like the price. Same sweatshirt. Same number, completely different feeling, because your brain never judges a price in isolation. It judges a price against whatever number it saw first. There's also a deeper layer underneath all of it, something closer to how a slot machine works than how a store works. You don't get a reward every single time you check an app. Sometimes there's a new post, sometimes a discount, sometimes nothing at all. That unpredictability is intentional, psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered decades ago, in experiments with simple reward boxes, that an unpredictable reward is far more addictive than a guaranteed one. Your brain doesn't know when the next good thing will show up, so it keeps checking. That's not weakness. That's wiring, the same wiring in every human brain, just pointed at a screen instead of a lever. Here's the counterintuitive twist nobody warns you about. The cart you almost emptied your savings into wasn't really competing against other shoe brands. It was competing against your future self. Every dollar spent on an impulse buy at 14 or 15 is a dollar that can't grow for the next 10, 20, 30 years. That might sound like a guilt trip, but it's actually just math, and math doesn't care how good the sneakers looked. Economist and psychologist Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for proving something that explains why all of this works so well. On adults and teenagers alike, he called it loss aversion. In plain English, it means losing something hurts roughly twice as much as gaining the same thing feels good. Apps know this, even if they never read the research. That's why the timer doesn't say, you could gain 20% off. It says you're about to lose this deal forever. Your brain doesn't process those two sentences the same way, even though they describe the exact same discount. One feels like an opportunity. The other feels like a threat, and brains are built to react to threats first and think about them second. So when that red bubble blinks and the timer starts counting down, you're not really choosing whether you want the sneakers. You're reacting to a fear your brain installed long before smartphones existed. A fear that used to protect you from real danger and now gets triggered by a checkout page. Knowing this doesn't make the trick disappear. But it does change who's in control. Here's a small experiment for the next notification that pulls at you. Before you tap anything, ask one question. Would you still want this if there were no timer, no red bubble, and no only 2 left warning? If the answer is yes, that's a real want, and you can buy it with intention. If the answer is no, you just caught the trigger in the act, and noticing that is worth more than the 20% off ever was. This doesn't mean every app is evil and every purchase is a trap. Shopping isn't the enemy here, unconscious shopping is. The exact same techniques that sell sneakers can sell good habits too, a savings goal, a reading streak, a version of your life you actually chose. The skill isn't avoiding persuasion forever. It's noticing when it's happening to you instead of happening through you. Try this the next time you open your banking app instead of a shopping app. Set your own countdown. Give yourself a real deadline to hit a savings number, not because a company told you to, but because you decided the goal mattered. Watch how different that pressure feels. It still pushes you to act. But it pushes you towards something you'll thank yourself for later, instead of something you'll quietly return in 3 weeks. Because here's the real point about your money at this age. It was never really about the $45 in your account. It's about the pattern you're building right now, while the stakes are still small. Every time you pause before a triggered purchase, you're training your brain to slow down before pressure speeds it up. Every time you ask why a deal feels urgent, you're getting better at spotting urgency that's manufactured instead of real. That skill doesn't expire when you turn 18. If anything, it gets more valuable because the prices get bigger, the timers get sneakier, and nobody is going to pause the countdown for you. So the next time your phone buzzes at 11:47 p.m. with a red bubble and a countdown clock, you'll know exactly what's happening before your thumb does. It's not really about the sneakers, it never was. It's about whether you decide or whether the timer decides for you.